I really think Willow is standing at the most dangerous turning point of her entire story right now, because the second she asked Sidwell to stop injecting the paralytic into Drew, everything changed for me. That wasn't a random request. That wasn't fear. And honestly, guys, I don't buy for 1 second that Willow suddenly grew a conscience overnight. I think there's something colder happening here, something way more calculated, because let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. Willow knows exactly what happens if Drew wakes up fully conscious again. Drew would destroy everybody involved. He would expose Sidwell. He would expose Willow. He would drag every dirty secret into the light without hesitation. So, if Willow truly wanted self-preservation only, the smartest move would have been keeping Drew silent forever. But she didn't. That's why I think Willow's mind is already somewhere else. I think she's no longer planning survival beside Sidwell. I think she's planning survival after Sidwell, and that changes the entire game. The thing that keeps bothering me is how comfortable Sidwell has become around Willow. He treats her almost like a loyal soldier now. He gives orders, and Willow follows them. That dynamic is exactly why Sidwell may never see the betrayal coming. Guys, people like Sidwell always believe fear equals loyalty. That's their weakness. They think manipulation is permanent. But manipulation only works until the victim realizes they can flip the board. And I think Willow already realized it. If you ask me, Willow asking for the injections to stop may actually be step one of a much darker setup. Because maybe she doesn't need Drew unconscious anymore. Maybe she needs Drew awake. Maybe she needs Drew angry. Maybe she needs Drew alive long enough to help destroy Sidwell without even realizing he's being used again. That's the twist I can't stop thinking about. Imagine Willow secretly approaching Drew after he regains awareness. Not as the villain, not as the enemy, but as another victim of Sidwell. And honestly, that would be terrifyingly smart, because Willow knows exactly how to weaponize emotion. We've seen it before. She knows when to cry, when to confess, when to appear broken. She knows how to make people hesitate before judging her. And Drew's biggest weakness has always been emotional manipulation disguised as vulnerability. That's why I think Willow may confess just enough truth to pull Drew back onto her side. Not the whole truth, just enough. That's the scary part. I could absolutely see Willow telling Drew that Sidwell forced her deeper and deeper into this nightmare, that she lost control, that she became trapped, that she was terrified. And honestly, part of me thinks Willow would even believe her own lies while saying them. That's what makes dangerous characters dangerous. Sometimes they emotionally rewrite reality inside their own heads. But here's where things get really insane. What if Willow already knows Sidwell would never willingly stop the injections? That means she may already have a backup plan in motion. And guys, I think that backup plan could end with Sidwell dead. The second I started thinking about this possibility, I couldn't ignore Willow's history with Drew. This is someone who already crossed the line once before. She already proved she's capable of pulling the trigger when desperation takes over. So the idea of Willow shooting Sidwell honestly doesn't feel impossible to me at all. In fact, it feels disturbingly believable, especially if a confrontation explodes between them. Picture it for a second. Sidwell refuses her request. Maybe he realizes Willow is slipping away from him. Maybe he threatens her. Maybe he threatens to eliminate Drew permanently. And Willow suddenly understands she's next too. Because The truth about manipulators is simple. Once they stop trusting you, your expiration date begins. That's when panic creates monsters. And Willow has already shown us what kind of monster panic can turn her into. I honestly think she could pull the trigger in that moment and convince herself it was survival. Not revenge, not greed, survival. Then, suddenly, everything changes overnight. Sidwell disappears. The injections stop. Drew wakes up. And Willow immediately begins building a brand new narrative. That's where this story gets psychologically fascinating to me, because I think Willow's real weapon isn't violence. It's storytelling. She knows how to reshape perception. She knows how to become whatever version of herself people are willing to forgive. So what does she do next? She buries Sidwell's crimes beneath Sidwell's corpse. I could totally see Willow arranging for someone shady to dispose of the body. Not some amateur panic cleanup either. I'm talking about somebody professional enough that Sidwell vanishes without a trace. And once there's no body, everything becomes harder to prove. That matters. Because now Willow has room to rewrite history. She can forge evidence. She can redirect blame. She can make Sidwell look like the mastermind behind the attacks on Drew and Brennan. And honestly, the terrifying thing is, some of it would even be true. That's what makes lies believable when they're mixed with reality. The police would probably suspect Willow anyway. There's no way this all becomes clean overnight. But suspicion and proof are two different things. And Willow may be calculating that difference perfectly, because if nobody can prove she killed Sidwell, then all she has left to manage is Drew. And that's the gamble. That's the emotional Russian roulette Willow may be preparing to play. She tells Drew everything, or at least the version of everything she wants him to hear. She admits Sidwell manipulated her. She claims she killed him to escape. She cries. She breaks down. She risks vulnerability because she knows vulnerability creates hesitation. And then she waits because Drew becomes judge, jury, and executioner in that moment. If Drew believes her, Willow survives. Not just legally, emotionally too. Drew might decide not to expose her. He might convince himself she was corrupted instead of evil. He might even help protect her secret because he feels guilty for not seeing what Sidwell was doing sooner. But if Drew sees through her, it's over. And honestly, that's why I think this storyline is so much bigger than just murder or revenge. To me, this is really about manipulation versus truth. About whether somebody who's crossed every line imaginable can still emotionally talk their way out of accountability. Because let's be real here, guys. Willow's biggest addiction may not be power. It may be control over perception. She needs people to see her the way she wants to be seen. And now, for the first time, Drew may become the one person impossible to control. That's dangerous for both of them. And weirdly enough, I think Willow knows that too. That's why I don't think she's acting recklessly right now. I think every move is strategic. Every emotional crack she shows may be intentional. Every request, every conversation, every confession, it all feels like somebody building an escape route before the building collapses. The real tragedy here is that Willow may believe killing Sidwell will finally free her. But if you ask me, secrets like this never disappear quietly. A hidden body always drags somebody down. Eventually, Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually the paranoia starts eating people alive. One mistake, one witness, one loose end. That's all it takes. And if Drew becomes that loose end, then Willow may discover too late that waking Drew up was the worst mistake she ever made.